All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my Joseki 20. So I know it's been a while. I've been very, very busy, especially with my new job. Yeah, things have just been going pretty hectic in my life right now. But I still want to keep doing my channel. So what I want to do for this to be more sustainable and manageable is that I will take a chunk of my time during the week to make all my 3 videos all together. In that way, I can be very consistent. I can keep providing high quality content for my viewers every week. For each week, I'll still have a Joseki and a trick. And I will do my best to have a live game played by myself, fully commented and explained, if that is possible. So some weeks you might not have a live game, and some weeks you might, if I have some extra time to actually play a game online and record it. So that's how I want to basically how I want to keep going with my channel. So let's get started. So last time it's been a long time, so I just want to briefly mention what I talked about. So I talked about outer cut and inner cut for the jump defense, and I said it is not recommended for my viewers. So don't try to play e5 in a very serious game, because let me give you an example, right? Like, let's say if you go for this very complicated inner cut and white just connects outside, just play it as I'd explained. Well, last time I talked about when black Ataris, white has this main variation, and black plays this one and white takes, and then we have a very manageable game. But you will only have a very manageable game as black if your opponent collaborates with you, right? Like, your opponent can totally just choose another variation, that is to connect at d3. And this is pretty much an avalanche, right? So a lot of stuff that you need to know to keep going in this local variation. And if you're not careful, the game could end very, very quickly inside here. So unless you've done a lot of studies, don't play e5, because this kick at e3 defense is really, really strong. So what I recommend today are two things, right? Like, first, you can play d2. White is going to defend like this, and then we played a very old school 2-space extension. I'm pretty sure a lot of my viewers know this. If you have started playing Go before anytime, I'd say before 2016, you should be very familiar with this kind of formation, right? Like, this is just way too common. And that's like the most easy to understand Joseki, right? Not much I can really talk about. It's super easy to understand. Today, I recommend you guys to, why not just take some territory, right? Like, this is also an excellent move. So we will mainly focus on this variation. So obviously, white has a very easy way out. That is to say, hey, I don't want any complication. I just want to block you. And black happily makes a tiger's mouth, white Atari, black connects, and there we have a very, very traditional Joseki. And now, black can just go ahead and keep playing elsewhere. And there's also not much to explain in this area, because this is just very easy to understand. Black is settled, white compromises, and then keep his territory over here, and the game just will keep going. So the variation comes in when white decides to not settle, right? Like, white decides to, hey, you know what, I'm gonna cut you off like this. So black will make the small knight. That's the correct move. White needs to block at b6, and then when black extends, white will connect, And now black will push. White needs to absolutely block this, and then now black has a very nice testing move, that is to play f2. So we will mainly focus on this variation today, that is for black to play f2. White has two responses. One is the very simple defense, that is play e1. If white plays e1, black will extend at f4. That's a very comfortable exchange for black. And now black needs to absolutely connect at c4, because otherwise there are going to be life and death issues in the corner. And the best way for black to fix that is to connect at c4. So now, white needs to fix this cutting point, right? So most of the time, your opponent would probably play f6, which is okay, but it's not optimal, right? Like, so black will actually play k3, and now, as we can see, this is a very good opening for black, because black gets a little bit of corner and also a little bit of side, right? And every group seems to be very efficient and very settled. White is okay as well, because white has a strong wall towards the top side, and black definitely has to respect this wall during the game. So it has value, but white needs to know how to manage this influence. So I'd say I really recommend this to my viewers as black, because this is super easy to manage. This corner has absolutely no problem. The best thing white can try is to honey connect later on. And black can tanuki or fix, right? Depending on what is going on. If there's a big move outside, like right now, black will go ahead and take that move. Because in here, white's best move is to play, basically to play a2. And black just says, you know what, I'm gonna ignore everything, right? I'm gonna just keep playing elsewhere. And eventually this will happen, and then there's a weird inside. So so black corner is fine pretty much, right? Just remember that this honey connect is not always sente, right? It causes life and death issues, but that black does not have to respond. So that's basically the thing about this variation. I just want to quickly mention, when black connects, AI recommendation is to play the more efficient g6. Black will also play k3. Now we can see white obviously has a cutting point, but white does not seem to be too afraid of it, right? Like, white can go ahead and start playing elsewhere. If black cuts, I believe that white will just turn here, and then I think white will just accept the fight, and then black also has a lot of burden with these two stones. So that's a very interesting way to defend, and that will actually increase your win rate by about 2% or so. So I recommend this move as well, because sometimes the best way to defend is an indirect defense, right? Like, I'm adding a move. It doesn't entirely fix this problem, but it makes you reluctant to really cut, right? When you cut, you will have burden and you will be under attack. So that's a very, very nice way to defend. That obviously is a very, very advanced idea. If you just want to like play simple, you can also play f6. But I just want to tell you, this is a bit less optimal. So we talked about weights extending onto e1. So the idea behind this extending onto e1 is forces black to connect at c4. A lot of times you encounter a situation where white decides to say, hey, I want to put more pressure onto these two guys. And now black does not really want to play c4. Why is that? Is because this E1 stone instead of being on E1, it's now on F1. So there's less pressure for black, because black's D1 is a sente. So now black will go ahead and go for a fight. White will extend and black extend out, white extend out, and then black just jump at E9. Very easy for black to have a very nice group in the center. And you might be wondering, well, what happens in the corner? That's where we need to focus on. So when white plays A5, black's best defense is at B4. And here, if black plays B2, we can honey at B1. So this is all a bit of life and death. So white will extend at A2. So there's a connection underneath, but black cannot really rush to block it. If you block, that's actually game over, because your corner now is dead, right? So blacks will make use of the fact that I mentioned, right? That is your E1 is just not there. So I can make the use of this, right? If white connects, now we can block, right? We can block now, and then there's absolutely no problem. Our group is totally going to be alive. So white now has a very annoying B3, or seemingly very annoying B3. You cannot throw in at A3, you cannot throw in at A1. What do? Well, it turns out black can just connect. And this is a very interesting situation. Looks like black is in a very dangerous situation, because now I cannot fill in at E1, right? Because if I fill in, white can capture everything. That's game over. But what is really interesting is black can Atari from the outside. My liberty is very, very short, but so is yours, right? So now white cannot connect, because now if you connect, I can just capture everything. White is forced to connect at E4, and then now black can just take. Seems like black is all on the first line and all that, but look at white. White has 3 liberties. White needs to first settle himself, and now black can just get himself out with a K4 move or something like that. And this will be a winning game for black, because this group will be under very fierce attack. And this group is not settled, but black is really settled, especially with a stone at G1. This is almost connected with the K4 stone. So the lesson is that there's not much white can do immediately towards the corner. So likely he will need to be patient, either keep going here, or play a Kosumi at G6. So the game will keep going, and I guess this is just a very equal game, right? Like, this is a fighting game. If you like fighting game, this is an awesome game for you. And always keep an eye on your corner, right? Always make sure this D1 is going to be something that you can get to protect your corner. So, all right, so that's about it for today. So for the last few lectures, I covered the AI move, how you defend it, and how you kind of keep going with it. But I don't really recommend black to play the E5 move. So today I briefly covered how you should just play the 3-3. The first variation is very simple to understand. Everybody's happy, and then it's an equal game. Sometimes a white wants to get influence over the right side, so he decides to play out this one, and then black will play this one, right? So remember to push once and then clamp at F2, right? Excellent move to test a white out. White's best response is probably playing E1. In that case, black will extend, white will connect at E4, and then now it's black's turn to play a move to fix everything here. And then white plays the g6 to indirectly defend against this cutting point. Black cannot cut directly because these three guys needs to be settled, and then white just can start playing elsewhere. And whenever black cuts, white will turn and fight. So that's the first variation. Sometimes your opponent might play a more annoying f1, but do not worry because black can counterattack at e6. When white extends at f5, black will first extend, forcing white to escape. And then black will play very peaceful and very, I mean not peaceful, but very, very solid move that settles his two stones. And we talk about why this corner is just going to be fine, right? So it's a very, very interesting area when white plays this one, black connects, white plays this one. Black has a Tetsuji, that is Atari at g1. White is forced to connect, and then we can take when this happens. This is a winning game for black, so this is not an equal game. This is absolutely a huge lead for black. Not only black has a lot to work on this side, but also this group is always going to be a burden for white. So this is a winning game for black pretty much. So white cannot play these premature attacks onto the corner. Rather, white needs to be very patient and likely fix his side first, and then later on fix his group over here. So that would be a more rational way of playing. And the game is about equal right here. So either jump here or I think or this Kosumi at g6 is also interesting. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If you encounter the jump defense, you can play the 3-3. Very, very territorial, very easy to understand variation that hopefully gives you a slight lead in the early game. Alright, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and thank you for watching, and talk to you guys next time.